Yankees Files podcast. We are back. Another Will Squared episode. I'm Will Harris, your Will Pesic, and the rest of you are fans of the team that just traded for Luis Garcia Jr., the team that just won 6 out of 10 on a road trip without basically its three best players or three best hitters, and the team that still leads the American League in run differential. That team, of course, Will, is the New York Yankees. Before we get into this trade deadline episode, this road trip episode, this Cody Bellinger is hurt episode, Will, it is customary for me to ask, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Nothing like a good trade deadline show. And it seems like the Yankees are off to what's expected to be a busy trade deadline tomorrow. So
certainly does. So let's start with the major headline, which is that Luis Garcia, who no longer plays second base, but that is how many people know him from the Nationals. He's been a first baseman in DH this year, is now a Yankee. So we're talking about a guy who's slugging .560 this year. It's close to 600 against right-handed pitching. We're talking about a guy who's kind of unplayable defensively, a guy who never walks and rarely strikes out. It's an extremely weird profile, but as I've watched the Yankees in the past few weeks, the one thing that is like stunningly lacking is extra base hits. We never see them slug almost at all. So the thing that sticks out to me most about Garcia is this guy has been slugging. What do you think is behind the move and will bid a sad farewell to Jake Bird and Giovanni Cruz?
And shout out Camilo Doval too, who got traded yesterday.
He did.
Obviously, this is a move that was needed from an offensive standpoint. They lacked power, and Cody Bellinger wasn't hitting for power this year. No. He only had 11 home runs, but when he was up there, he was a legitimate threat to hit a ball over the fence. And I think Yankee fans are seeing in real time why the Yankees every year make an emphasis on we need to hit the ball over the fence, because you're seeing how hard it is now for the team to string together multiple base hits in a row to just get something together. Like it worked on Friday yesterday when they hit 3 2-out hits in a row and Caballero tied the game with a 2-out single. That's not going to win every day, and it hasn't won in the last couple of weeks for the Yankees. And the games that they've won, they've hit the ball over the fence. Friday, they hit 2 solo shots. Yesterday, Spencer Jones hits a home run, but they lose. And today, they hit a 2-run homer, and that ends up as a difference. They don't have Thump in their lineup right now.
No.
And this was a move that needed to be done. And now when you get Bellinger back and you get Judge back, you add more power to a lineup now just that added a 30 home run back this year, which he's on pace to hit more than 30 home runs. He's at 23 already. So that's a good positive. But you bring up a good question. What this brings up a weird fit for them now.
It's a very weird fit. So we're talking about a guy who probably won't play a lot against left-handed pitching. There's not really a way to get him in the lineup. He's a worse hitter against lefties than Ben Rice. He's obviously a worse hitter against lefties than Paul Goldschmidt. So he's not in there against lefties. Against righties, he will play and Goldschmidt will sit. So that much is kind of straightforward. Where we run into a question is, how do you get him in the lineup when Aaron Judge or Giancarlo Stanton comes back? Because especially if Judge is back as a hitter before he's back as a fielder, you can't. DH and first base are only 2 spots.
Right.
So it becomes very difficult to think about whether it's, assuming even Judge is back and fully healthy, how would you get Giancarlo Stanton, Ben Rice, and Luis Garcia all into the same lineup? Is the answer just that Stanton's never going to see a righty, Garcia's never going to see a lefty, and Judge is going to have to play the field? Like, how do you see that coming together?
Well, it's definitely interesting, like 6 hours after Aaron Boone spoke to the media, because Aaron Boone said pregame that Giancarlo was going to have live VP against Clark Schmidt this week, which led everybody to believe, all right, he's a couple, maybe 2 or 3 weeks away from maybe a rehab assignment. We could see him back, but be like before Labor Day if we're lucky. And then this trade just kind of complicates that. And I think this shows you that the Yankees just do not think Giancarlo Stanton can be relied upon to play 100+ games anymore. And I think they're fully embracing that Aaron Judge will come back. He'll play the outfield, and they'll do exactly like you just said. Like they'll have him DH and play first base. But then this eliminates my counterpoint argument to you is, does this eliminate Ben Rice's development as a first baseman, as a fielder? Because if he's going to be strictly DH, the Yankees at 20, he's 26 years old. That's awfully young to be a full-time DH already. So what's the avenue that they go with here with that?
So it's an interesting question. Is it obvious to you that if Rice and Garcia are in the same lineup, Rice is DHing?
No, I think he could play first if they're in the same lineup. Yeah.
Because Rice has not been a terrific defensive first baseman, but he's been playable. You know, he -3 fielding run value. I think Garcia's at like 0 or -1. Garcia's graded out certainly a little bit better, but the other thing that's weird about Rice, and I'd like to get your take on this as part of this discussion, is Ben Rice this year is the worst he's ever been defensively. Do you have like, what do you make of that? Because I think it's super weird that he was, you know, in his first 719 innings as a major league first baseman in his first 2 years, he was worth -3 defensive runs saved, and he had 1 out above average and 1 fielding run value. This year, -7 DRS, -5 OAA, -3 FRV. So like, what's going on there? It's weird that as he's played more, he has ostensibly gotten worse at it.
It could be that the larger sample is showing who he really is defensively, or it could also be the fact that maybe he's just getting tired playing every single day. Like last year, he was mostly viewed as a platoon bat last year, and now injuries have forced him to play every day, and maybe the Yankees are realizing that, which is why they're giving him a majority of DH reps now, and Goldschmidt plays almost every day at first base. Maybe they're trying to, and they give him an off day yesterday, and he's clearly not right at the plate right now. Another 0 for 4 today with a couple of strikeouts. Like he's clearly going through it offensively. So maybe he's running into some late season fatigue, and I think that could be building up because he only played a handful of games there to start 2024 when he was called up. Even in 2024 in AA and AAA, he was spending time between catcher and first base. Like he wasn't a full-time first baseman until this year. Like last year, they used him at catcher as well, even in the big league level. So this is his first full season as a first baseman. I'm interested to see if this continues the rest of his career, or it could just be that the larger sample is showing this is who Ben Rice truly is defensively.
Yeah, it's an interesting position to be in. And Rice really has not been himself since the beginning of June. You know, we're talking about a guy who has a 120, or coming into today had a 120 WRC plus since the beginning of June, when it was, I think, close to 200 before that. Yeah, 189 before that. So I do think he can get back to it offensively. And I think that, you know, the hopes of the offense not fully resting on his shoulders will also be helpful. That seems like a major benefit of the Garcia acquisition.
I also think part of it too is, I think we saw it in the game against the White Sox where in extra innings he had bases loaded and 1 out, and he expanded the zone and he chased a pitch that was in the dirt. I think a part of that, like you said, is with like the weight on his shoulders. He knows that on deck, especially in that game against Washington, is against Chicago, is Ali Sanchez. Yeah. Like he knew he needed to come through in that spot, because if he didn't come through, there's a good chance the runs are not scoring. Getting a guy like Garcia, like you said, could alleviate some of that away from him, and it could just focus on who he is, a guy that doesn't chase, does not expand the zone, and hits the ball hard and hits it for power. And he was doing that without Judge when Bellinger was hitting and Grisham was hitting in front of him. And now that Grisham's in a lull, which I'm confident he'll get out of it, he had 2 balls he hit on the screws today, just right at gloves, it looked like.
I mean, Trent Grisham. So the Yankees have 1 above average hitter who's gotten at least 150 plate appearances since May 27th, and that is Ben Rice at a 140 WRC plus. His ex-WOBA in that time, 365. Trent Grisham's ex-WOBA in that time, 343, and he has a 95 WRC plus. Like, there's this, it's become a very popular narrative that it has again become a very popular narrative because he's cooled off a little bit, that like the Trent Grisham acquisition was a mistake. This guy is getting remarkably unlucky this year. He has a 226 BABIP coming into today, 224 coming out of it. Like, Grish is going to be, he's going to be fine. Where else do you think this team is poised to add? You know, we just mentioned they traded away Jake Bird, Camilo Doval, and Giovanni Cruz. So there have to be arms on the way. You got anyone you're keeping your eye on?
A name that has been circulating a lot has been Caleb Killian from the Giants. I messaged you about him maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Like, they really believe in like the low FIP, high ERA guys that are due for a positive regression. Obviously, that ballpark in San Francisco could be a killer for sometimes pitchers, and like they also travel to Colorado and all that. So, the NL West could be just a disaster for him.
Yeah.
I feel like they think they're confident that they could get him to a nice spot. And Eric Miller is somebody else that they've been talking about on San Francisco.
I've been on Eric Miller for like a year and a half. He was in my 2025 offseason plan, like going into 2025.
Yeah. I feel like definitely though, like now that they traded away 3 depth arms who all had major league experience this year, and Cruz, Doval, and Bird, they're going to add pitching wise. Obviously the catcher, but something else that's interesting in this whole thing is that they just cleared 3 40-man spots by doing all of these moves. You would think Lombard gets one of them because it's just a matter of when he does come up. I seem to just have this hunch he's coming up tomorrow because Scranton is off. The Yankees are home after the trade deadline. Who knows what's going to happen after that? Like, it just makes sense that he will be here tomorrow, but I don't know if that's possible, but it does seem like he's getting one of the extra 40-man spots.
Yeah, it's a lot of space to have cleared not to call up Lombard, but I guess my question would be, they're already bringing in a position player. Mm-hmm. They haven't gotten rid of a position player yet. Do you see them clearing 2 hitter spots on the 26-man roster in a day?
I think one of the 40-man spots is coming from one of their pitchers, like a Will Warren or a Ryan Weathers, because their names have just been out there, and there's a lot of smoke around them to just be totally nothing. Mm-hmm. Like they were in the Scubal talks, which they were talking about yesterday, and everybody wants to crap on the Dodgers for making that trade. Like, say what you want about River Ryan and stuff, and say what you want about like Zaire Hope. Every team had a chance to match what the Dodgers did, and they didn't. So credit the Dodgers, I guess. And like, Zaire Hope's a good player. I hear people talking about how the Tigers got fleeced. I don't think it was a total fleece. Like, they got 2 legitimate, really good players in that deal. It does seem like the Yankees are shopping Warren or Weathers.
So I do think it's worth us touching on the Scubal thing. I think you could feasibly believe that Zaire Hope is a better player than anyone the Yankees have in their farm. Right. Like, you could totally make the case that Zaire Hope is better than Lombard or Kilby, in which case, like, he'd be the best position player in the Yankees farm. There are a lot of teams for whom that's not true. There are a lot of teams for whom Zaire Hope would not be the best position player in their farm. And there are a lot of teams who have a pitching prospect that's more interesting than a guy who's about to turn 28 and has never been healthy. And there's a lot of anger directed at the Dodgers that I think is entirely misguided. Because, or actually, let me put it this way. The team that is most to blame for Tarik Scubal ending up on the Dodgers is the Milwaukee Brewers. They have the best farm system in baseball. They have the best record, or the second best record in the National League. They are the team that could take down the Dodgers, and they could do it by paying for half a season of Tarik Scubal. I don't care what their payroll is. I don't care how small their market is. They can afford half a season of Tarik Scubal, and they should be embarrassed and they should be ashamed that if they think that package that went to Detroit for Scubal isn't impressive, they should be embarrassed and ashamed that they didn't match it. And all the people, both fans of small market teams and owners of small market teams, who are going to use Tarik Scubal getting traded to the Dodgers as justification for why we need a salary cap should be embarrassed too, because the Rays could have made that trade. The Brewers could have made that trade. Anyone could have made that trade. Almost anyone could have made that trade. And I am exhausted by how people are like, oh, the rich just get richer. It's the trade deadline. This isn't free agency. It's not like they were able to get Tarik Scubal because they have $700 million to pay him. Like, I'm very mad who cares that Scubal went to the Dodgers? Like we've seen a team with 1 million Cy Young winners get swept in the division series. Like it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Sure, it makes them better. Sure, I don't want to see Tarek Scubal in the playoffs, but like, look, whatever. They were already a really good team. They're now a slightly better team. Whatever.
And there's no guarantee that the Yankees face him either in the World Series.
There's no guarantee
he's not in the American League. So.
Exactly.
and like the fact is, the Milwaukee Brewers still can beat the Dodgers without Tarek Scubal, and they have the best chance to do so out of any other team in the National League. And it literally just takes one F up from any pitcher in a best of 5 series or best of 7, and your entire series is screwed. You saw that with the Yankees last year. Max Fried pooped his pants in Game 2 of the ALDS, and it pretty much was the final straw in their 2025 season. Like, that's totally possible. Scubal could have a blow-up playoff start. He gave up a grand slam to Lane Thomas in Game 5 of the ALDS literally 2 years ago.
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. So,
and by the way, Jack Curry just tweeted, the Yankees view Luis Garcia strictly as a first base DH option.
Good. Okay. So we talked about some relievers. I had named some guys on prior podcasts. I like Grant Wolfram from the Orioles. I like some of the guys that the A's have. I've always liked Eric Miller, although he walks too many guys. There are a lot of interesting options out there. Talk to me about catcher. I today was not shut down when I asked if Adley Rutschman could be on the table. So, that means whatever that means. I would kill for an Adley Rutschman Grant Wolfram package. I think that would be huge. I think it would make the team a lot better. Is there anyone you have your eye on? Tyler Stevenson, Ryan Jeffers, Hunter Goodman, Jonah Heim, others. What do you think that position is going to look like? Also, I know Ali Sanchez has actually been pretty solid against left-handed pitchers, but I would just rather have a guy who I feel like is a Major League Baseball player on my team.
Oh yeah, 100%. I was also asking today, where things stand with the catcher. The name that keeps popping up, which I don't know if I'm totally on board with it, is Ivan Herrera from the Cardinals.
So he can't play defense.
Right.
And his offense, the underlying numbers, at least on his offense, have declined this year, but he's always been a solid offensive player.
And I think the thing that stands out to me the most about him is the walk rate. He's walking at a 10% clip. He's getting on base at a 350 with a 357 OBP. I'm not really sold on Herrera. I would love Adley Rutschman. I don't know what it'll take to get him here.
Yeah.
It does seem like a right-handed hitting catcher is coming. And I had you on my show a couple weeks ago, and I said I thought it was Heim time. I thought they were going to get Jonah Heim to come to the Yankees. And he has been hitting lefties this year. He has a 930 OPS against lefties. He took I don't know. The Red Sox have so many left-handed starting pitching. He took one of them deep twice when the Red Sox were in Sacramento, and he had a double off Sonny Gray. And I know he's a righty, but he's having a good offensive season. But I don't know if the injury to Shea Langoliers is going to prohibit them from moving him.
Yeah, if the A's see themselves as contenders, it could, which the league is so mediocre that they could, then they might not be inclined to move Heim. So yeah, Ivan Herrera, I will say, for all the challenges that he's had this year against left-handed pitching, he is walking more than he strikes out, a 17% walk rate and a 13.6% strikeout rate. And he's hitting 254, 401, 415. His ex-WOBA is 384. Jonah Heim getting on base a lot less at only 298 against lefties, but he's slugging 570. So I would say that's pretty solid.
Yeah. And the catcher is interesting because it is very rare to import a catcher at a trade deadline and expect him to start, because he's got to learn all the pitchers. He's got to learn pitcher techniques, what the Yankees specifying catchers, which we know now is framing and defense. Mm-hmm. I still, to this moment, I feel like they're going to be walking away with Tyler Stevenson. I think it just makes a lot of sense for them. He also has a connection to Tanner Swanson, believe it or not.
Okay.
I don't see the Twins. Obviously, the Twins are not selling.
Yeah.
They just traded it for Dean Kramer. I don't see Hunter Goodman coming. I also don't know if I'm totally on board with that idea either, to tell you the truth.
No, I'm not either.
If I had to rank them, I would say Tyler Stevenson probably number 1, Herrera 2, and then Jonah Heim number 3. Out of likely, sure, I would love to get Adley Rutschman. Like I just don't personally think Baltimore is going to trade him in division. That feels more like a winter trade to me than it does a summer trade. And Baltimore does, according to everybody you talk to, even Jeff Passan, they want young, controllable starting pitching, and the Yankees have that. I just don't know if the Yankees feel comfortable either sending Will Warren in division and facing him.
Gun to your head, would you trade Will Warren for Adley Rutschman?
It might piss a lot of people off. I'm going to say no, because Adley Rutschman has 1 more year of team control. Will Warren has 4, and I don't think the Yankees want to. The Yankees have a history of not extending catchers long term. I don't know. I think it's tough.
It is tough. Camilo Doval just gave up a home run to Tyler Stevenson. So we got some audience submitted questions, which we will get into here shortly. So from I Love Advertising at Sayam GD, how much do you buy into the quote, playoffs are a crapshoot talk? Obviously, baseball is pretty random, but if I told you that 2 days before the trade deadline, you were 1 game out of the 3rd wild card and Pacoda had your team projected for 86 wins without any other info, are you buying? Okay, so my take on playoffs are a crapshoot is that it's true. The playoffs are just a series of weighted dice rolls, and you can have a really damn good team and you still can only weight the dice so much. And we saw that with the Dodgers in 2022 and 2023. Both of those teams, as far as what they achieved in the regular season, were much better than the 24-25 Dodgers. You'll remember the 25 Dodgers won fewer games than the 25 Yankees. So through that lens, if you see yourself as having any shot, there's a decent argument that you should buy. Look at the 2023 World Series. Like, those were both bad teams. I think the Diamondbacks had a negative run differential. So,
and the 21 Braves, who lost their best player, and they add Jock Peterson, Eddie Rosario, and by the way, Eddie Rosario carried them to a World Series, and that was on a team that had Freddie Freeman and Ozzie Albies, for that matter. Like
it was Eddie Rosario and Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler.
Right.
Yeah,
like there is element to a crapshoot. I 100% agree. I think what people don't understand is you have to look back. The Dodgers were what people say about the Yankees now is what people were saying about the Dodgers prior to 2024, when they were the best team in baseball in 17, 18, 19, 21, 22. They go, what is up with the Dodgers? They can't get anything right. They can't win the playoffs. Dave Roberts has to go. And they win a COVID World Series, sure, and they justify it 4 years later. If I'm being totally honest with you, last year was the perfect encapsulation on why the playoffs are a crapshoot, in my opinion. The worst hitter imaginable in the sport has the biggest at-bat of his career.
Yep.
And Dave Roberts had an option to either stick with Miguel Rojas or go to a pinch hitter. I think every single Dodger fan said, what is Dave Roberts doing? He is a moron.
Yep.
And he deposits a hanging slider into left field and ties the game. And not to mention the amount of opportunities the Blue Jays had last year in that same Game 7 to win the World Series. Bases loaded, 1 out twice in that series. The next half inning where IKF gets a bad lead, Rojas falls down, and that ridiculous Willie Mays style catch that they make almost colliding into each other. Like, that is what we talk about when we say there's elements of randomness.
Totally.
And the Dodgers got hella lucky in Game 6. I'm sorry, Dodger fans, when Justin Dean throws his hands up and that ball gets stuck in the fence. Like, what do you call that? Oh, that's good back to ball skills. Like, whoever hit the ball knows that's what's going to do it. I'm sorry. No, that's just not true. You need, yes, you need to be a good team, but you also need breaks to go their way. And the breaks the last few years have went the Dodgers' way.
Yeah. I mean, Miguel Rojas went from June 14th to June 14th, which I think was off of a position player. Let me find this because I want to make sure I get this right. Yes. So On June 14th, 2025, Miguel Rojas hit a home run off of a left-handed pitcher, but it was a position player, so it didn't count. Miguel Rojas's most recent home run against a left-handed pitcher who's actually a pitcher before his home run in Game 7 of the World Series was on September 17th, 2024. It had been more than a year between home runs that he hit off of left-handed pitchers, and then he takes arguably the best left-handed reliever in baseball deep in Game 7 of the World Series. It is like, if that doesn't show you that you just need random stuff to go your way to win the World Series, in addition to being good enough to get there, like, I don't know what would. So
and
I would
think
say
Shohei Ohtani was going to give up a 3-run home run in the first inning or whatever inning it was.
Yeah. So I would say if you're a borderline team, there are very good arguments for you to buy. I think you kind of need to consider the larger arc of where your team is going. Are all your guys young and controllable? If so, maybe sell some prospects and, you have some time to continue building. There are other factors, but like if the Yankees were projected for 86 wins and they were a game out of the wild card, I would absolutely say they should buy.
And to go off that question, the Minnesota Twins are doing exactly that.
Yes,
like
I think
they realize that they have a window, that there's an opportunity to get that final wild card spot, and they're buying. That's what the third wild card spot was instituted for teams like that. What the Nationals are doing is they have the same chance to do that in the National League, and they're saying, you know what, screw it.
Yep,
we're going to
exactly.
and it's two opposite sides of the spectrum. Washington's offense is so good this year. I mean, say goodbye to Garcia and Curtis Mead. But if they kept those guys and just added pitching, they had a legitimate shot against anybody to win in the National League. That's how good their offense was this year.
Scoring so many runs. They could have bought relievers.
Hey, they did. Jake Bird and
That's true. That's true.
And our old friend Clayton Beater. How about that? The Nationals now have 3 former Yankees back-to-back deadlines.
That is a good point. So from Waleed Harani at Waleed_Harani, with you and hashtag Steve rightfully thinking managers don't matter much, what would it take for y'all to want to see Aaron Boone fired after the season? What would it take for you, Will? What do you think?
I don't think it will do anything.
What would get you to the point where you said, okay, they should fire Aaron Boone?
If the Yankees have a fully healthy team, nobody gets hurt, fully healthy, Cy Young season from Cam Schlittler, Aaron Judge does his thing, Rice does his thing, and they have a colossal collapse and miss the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like to me, that's the only thing that I can see. And I'm tired of the narrative of, firing a manager does something. Look at the Phillies and look at the Red Sox. The Red Sox are playing 850 winning percentage ball. That is not sustainable.
Yeah, it's not going to last. And then, also the Phillies came into their series against the Yankees, which they lost, as losers of 9 of 12.
And a bottom 3 offense since the beginning of June or something like that.
Their offense is horrendous. Look at the Orioles. They've had 3 different managers in the last 2 years. How are they doing? The Rockies change managers. It's very silly. The Giants change managers. Look how that's gone for them. There's a counterpoint in all of these cases. I think for me, it would take criminal allegations. If it turned out that Aaron Boone was part of an organized crime ring, I'd be like, okay, it's probably, although that could be really cool. If it's the mafia, that could be really cool. So maybe not even that, but no, I'm with you. Managers just don't matter enough for me to worry about it.
And I think we all watch these games. How can you say he needs to be fired with how he's handled the bullpen? I mean,
the fact that while they haven't been able to score a single run, they are still winning games because Boone is just managing the bullpen like a wizard, I think is really, really good.
And I feel like he uses Brent Hedrick in these spots, and I'm like, how do you keep going to him? His arm's going to fall off, and Bednar comes in and gets 4-out saves every other day, and it's just he knows when to push guys and he knows when to not push guys, and that's something you can't teach. That's something that you just need to have, and the players respect him for that.
He knows exactly what he can ask of guys and exactly when he can ask it of them.
I was watching an Inside the Yankees clip, and they had Preston Claiborne talking about how the Yankees sent him a winter workout package saying, we want you to become this high intensity guy where we could use you every 2 to 3 days out of a week rather than 2 innings and optioned. Like, we want you to be this guy. And he's catapulted into Aaron Boone's circle of trust, and rightfully so. He's been outstanding. I thought at the start of the year, I'm like, he's got a really high whip that's going to come down. But no, it's actually stabilized, and he's been lights out for them.
Yeah, no, Brent Hedrick has been awesome, and it's a testament to what the Yankees do with relievers. Yeah, man, no, he's been absolutely phenomenal. He being Brent Hedrick and he being Aaron Boone. The other thing I would say is, like, if Aaron Boone were a complete doofus in the media, that would bother me. And I think he communicates to the media in exactly the way the manager of the Yankees should. He doesn't, hang guys out to dry. He doesn't make anything public. Nothing ever comes out of the clubhouse. And that is unique. And people don't realize how unique that is. Like, every year with the Mets, there's been some story about, like, guys getting in fights. And then, Francisco Lindor was like, no, we were talking about a raccoon that we saw, or maybe it was a squirrel, like all this nonsense that doesn't happen to the Yankees, at least under Aaron Boone. And I think that's a very strong point in his favor.
Something I kept saying last year was they had 4 MVPs on their team and still do. Judge,
Bellinger,
and Goldschmidt. They were getting, 2 of them were getting platoon reps. Stanton was playing every day. There was not a word out of that locker room over the guys being petty about playing time. You look in
Paul
our division.
Goldschmidt came back to the team for, like, no money.
And you look at the Red Sox, and every year it looked like Alex Cora had something negative with his players, and he told Rafael Devers, throw your glove out at third base, and we're going to need it again. They get into a public spat. Jaron Duran gets into a spat with his teammates. And, like, there's just so much dysfunction around the league, and you see it, and you go, the Yankees never publicize that. And what it is, it's usually resolved. Like, when Domingo Germán got drunk in the clubhouse, they quickly DFA'd him, right? Or whatever they did. Like, the Yankees don't let these things linger around, and it's a testament to who Aaron Boone is, not just as a manager, but as a person. Like, he knows he was a player. Like, he knows how detrimental leaked messages could be in a clubhouse.
Totally. Yeah, no, you're 100 and absolutely 100% right. Waleed also asked, what is your confidence rating in us winning the division? I give them like a 30% chance to win the division. I still think the Rays are a house of cards. The Yankees just don't have enough weapons as it is now, but that answer could change in 24 hours. And us playing a wild card series against Boston, which seems to be lining up. A wild card series against Boston could be tough, but it's a lot less tough if they don't have Garrett Crochet, which they currently don't. And I really don't think the Red Sox can hit. And they got Curtis Mead, who now is probably out for much of the rest of the season, if not the rest of the season. So I don't know. I'm not confident in a 3-game series against anyone because of the nature of a 3-game series. I'd love to win the division. I still think there's a real chance of that, but having to do it without Judge, Stanton, and Bellinger is really tough.
They're only 2.5 games out of first place.
Yep.
Without all these guys coming, and like we know reinforcements are coming. I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic with the division. I put it at kind of like a 50-50.
Okay.
I say that because you take out Caminero, Aranda, and Diaz, and the Rays cannot hit. Like,
true.
They added Peralta today, which is great. Like, I think he's going to be much better than he was on the Mets. Like,
definitely.
There's a lot of underlying stuff that the Mets just really couldn't get out of him. I noticed his extension was down a lot this year, and the Rays have a knack for fixing their pitchers. But Shane McClanahan is never healthy. Like, he's hurt again. Nick Martinez, he's not this good of a pitcher.
Nick Martinez is a fake.
Right.
He's a
exactly.
fake.
I'm not like they just DFA'd Craig Kimbrell. Like, they have question marks too. Like, they also struggle offensively. Like, when Hunter Fiducia is batting 6th in your order and Taylor Walls continues to play every day at shortstop, there's legitimate concerns. Totally. And if I was a Rays fan, I'm like, the Yankees are struggling, but, like, we're also not good offensively.
Yeah.
And I don't think Boston's going to maintain an 850 winning percentage over the next 60 games. I think it's impossible. Their offense is also just not good. Like, I like Wilson Contreras as a hitter. I don't like him as he annoys the crap out of me every time I see him. But aside from him and Wilyer Abreu, who are you really fearing in that lineup? Like Cedar Rafaela has these nice hot stretches every year, but he's not this good offensive of a hitter. Caleb Durbin, you're getting exactly what he is. Maybe a high 600, mid 700 OPS guy, but he's built for Fenway. So is Curtis Mead though, and he's out. And there's so much talk about the Red Sox getting a big offensive upgrade at shortstop. I don't see it happening because every year they're in these conversations for these big offensive threats. I just don't.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, no, I agree. From Hurley Mania, who's the best cheap platoon outfield bat the Yankees should add, and why is it Tyrone Taylor? He says, I would accept Tyrone Taylor, but he's definitely not even close to the best cheap platoon outfielder. His production against left-handed pitching is super, super fake this year. He has a 340 BABIP and a 293 xWOBA. So no, thank you. But I'll throw out some names of guys who are interesting as far as just having crazy offensive numbers against lefties who have process that backs it up. Elliot Ramos, Taylor Ward, Dylan Cruz, I assume, is off the table because we already made a deal with the Nats, so I assume that's over. Joe Adell, Lane Thomas already got moved. Adolis Garcia, although the Phillies can't afford to move a bat, and he's out for the season, right? Heriberto Hernandez, Matt Vierling, bring home my Notre Dame, not my roommate. How do you describe someone who lived in the same dorm as you but wasn't your roommate?
Your floor mate.
Yeah, bring back my freshman year floor mate, Matt Vierling. Austin Martin, but the Twins aren't selling. They're Dane Myers. If you could get Dane Myers in a package for Tyler Stevenson, or if you trust Spencer Steer to play the outfield, which you probably don't. I've heard that the Yankees are in on Randy Arozarena. I think I heard that from you. I hope that's not true because once you get down below he's under 300 xWOBA against lefties. And maybe some of that is that Seattle's just such a terrible park to hit in. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of guys. Elliot Ramos is my favorite. Taylor Ward would also be huge because this team has just stopped walking. Mm-hmm. And Taylor Ward is slugging against lefties. He's slugging 472. So I think Taylor, you know what would actually just make my day? Yankees call me up. The stadium is right. I guess it's really that way. The stadium's right over there. Call me up. Just send me over there. I'll talk to Mikey. I'll be like, look, Mikey, because that's what I call Mike Elias, obviously, because we're tight. I'll be like, look, Mikey. Here's what we're gonna do. You can have Ryan Weathers. He's really good. You can have Ryan Weathers, and I'll take Adley Rutschman and Taylor Ward and who was the other guy I said? Grant Wolfram. Yeah. And I'm going to buy them a ticket on the Acela. I'll even buy them first class. Just send them right up to New York. They can have a nice ride in the Northeast Corridor. There's free booze and free meals when you're first class on the Acela. This is not an Amtrak ad. They're not a sponsor. Could be if they want to be. But no, I mean, I would give them. Now I'm just spitballing stuff, and this obviously wouldn't happen. But I would give Dax Kilby, Will Warren, and Henry Lalane or someone similar for Taylor Ward, Adley Rutschman, and Grant Wolfram, and I would not have a second thought about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I do like Taylor Ward a lot. The name that keeps coming back is Elliot Ramos, and
I love Elliot Ramos. People know this about me.
On Friday, it just wasn't my guy that told me this. There was supposedly a lot of talk about Joe Adell going to the Yankees on Friday. It seems like on the Thursday. It was Thursday. It seems like those talks have since cooled down. To me, it's a better hitter than Jason Dominguez, but just as bad defensively. And I don't know if that's
pretty bad defensively.
Yeah,
he's having his best defensive season ever, though.
People look at those 3 catches he made where he robbed home runs, and they go, exactly. He's the best fielder ever. And it's just not the case. I can't see them getting Joe Adell. I would do anything to get a Taylor Ward on this team. If you look at the team's on base percentage without Judge and without Bellinger, it is not good. When you have Max Schumann leaning off against lefties like they did last night, there's a lot of holes on that team as far as walking, getting on base. And that's why they're also not scoring, because they're not scoring because nobody's getting on base. And a lot of that's the plate discipline on a lot of these players. Like Jazz Chisholm does not walk enough. Jose Caballero is allergic to taking pitches. The guy's up there swinging at legitimately anything.
Yeah.
A guy that I've been impressed about who's actually walking is Spencer Jones. Like, I could not be more pleased with what I've seen out of him.
I will say, if this is an audition, if this last stretch since he was most recently called up is an audition, he is making it look like there is a path to him being a major league hitter in a way that it didn't look before. So Spencer Jones with plate discipline is a really interesting guy, but a guy that the Yankees should absolutely trade. Also, it was my mistake. Ramos is having his best defensive season ever.
Okay.
Adele is not.
Okay.
Adele was better in 24.
And we've seen what Cashman has done in recent years, especially. He tends to talk to teams that he knows he can get multiple assets from.
Yep.
Where if he calls San Francisco and he's like, hey, I'll take Elliot Ramos, but I also want like a Caleb Killian, or I want like an Eric Miller. I could see that legitimately happening.
Yeah, that's a common
Cashman thing.
A common Cashman move.
2017, he got Todd Frazier,
Tommy
obviously the big deal,
David
Robertson. Right.
Yeah. Also from I Love Advertising, the Yankees are a lot less reactionary than casual fans and will make decisions pretty objectively. So when they give up on a guy like Camilo Doval, who has a crazy arsenal and could feasibly turn it around elsewhere, what do you think pushes them towards a decision like that? I think there are a couple things at work there. First, Camilo Doval has had, a turbulent major league career. He obviously has all the stuff and all the potential in the world and throws some nasty pitches, but it's been infrequent to see him put it all together. And I think different teams are tinkering with that in different ways and have gotten mixed results doing so. I think it's probably hard to be Camilo Doval and deal with that. So I don't know if there was anything behind the scenes of him being like, look, you guys can't keep putting me in these situations where I'm trying to implement this new thing. Right. And, I'm also in this high leverage spot. It's and I get caught in between. I think there was an element of it's not totally fair to Camilo Doval if they're trying to change things, which if you look at his pitch mix, they clearly were. And then he's in these spots where it's super important for him to pitch well. I think that's a really tough spot to be in for the player. And then also for the team, a guy in that position is going to struggle to succeed. And I think he could absolutely be good elsewhere, and I certainly expect him to be. The stuff is just too good for him not to be. But I think he needs to be in a place where he can actually tinker, and it was just not a fit for player or team to have him doing that while he is in this important role.
Yeah, I turbulent was the word that is how I would describe him. Immediately since they traded for him last year, the fans were on his back because of the famous Miami Marlins game where every trade acquisition that they acquired that night just picked Caballero, lets the ball go under his glove, Bednar and Bird blow the game, Doval comes in, blows. He just was never in a good spot with the fan base ever since they traded for him last year. I think there was a ton of bad luck involved this year with Doval, but a lot of things that he could control better, like the free passes were a problem. And at the start of the season, he wasn't walking many batters. And you're like, well, they're clearly telling him, let's sell the strikeouts for less walks. Yep. And it looked good in April and May, but it seems to have come back a little bit. And we've seen it. He's also been brought in spots where he hasn't been well in, extra inning games where he gets the first two guys out and he walks the next two guys. And it's just he's been a roller coaster, and the stuff is there. I believe in Camilo Doval. Obviously, the Yankees did, and people were hoping he would get DFA'd. You don't DFA a guy that has talent like that, and where teams have value. Like Joey Gallo had value. They got Clayton Beater for him, and who now they traded for Ahmed Rosario for him, right? And now they get a guy who's probably going to be organizational catching depth because they don't have any. They traded it all away in the last couple of years. You just don't DFA a guy because he's having a bad year. That's just not how baseball works sometimes. No. If he has no value at all, I understand it. But clearly teams saw a team like Pittsburgh, they think they could fix him. Every team thinks they could fix a player. Every team thinks they could do it. Absolutely. And it's a player worth trying to fix. From Dominguez Caddy, or Jacob, who is at Dominguez Caddy, thoughts on the Odyssey. I haven't seen the Odyssey yet, but I did see the new Spider-Man movie and it ripped. I have not seen the Odyssey. Not my type of movie. I have not seen Spider-Man yet. I am semi caught up with all Marvel, but the whole Disney Plus shows where it's like 8 episodes of this.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah, they're inundating us. From Ryan at RJNYY0. A few questions. First, what do you think we end up with before the deadline? We talked about that. Second, do you think Lombard comes up? You've already said you think it's happening Monday, which I'll jump on that. Sure, why not? George, see you soon. And
third, 4 hits today, by the way.
Yep. Third, what do you think about Dax Kilby? I think Dax Kilby is going to look great in Baltimore in a few years.
There's a lot of talk around the Yankees in particular and beat writers. Like, I know how we feel about Joel Sherman and like his reporting. He has said, I don't know where he gets this information from. The Padres called the Yankees and asked where he was playing. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's a way that they're trying to get Mason Miller or whatever, but teams are clearly calling on him. And I don't think he's a long-term shortstop. Just based off what I'm not this prospect guru that knows everything about prospects. I just kind of look at what people say about them that like know about prospects, and they don't think he's going to stick at short. He doesn't have a lot of power either. So I think they view him more as like a third base option than, if anything, more third base better than second and short. He's also like 4 years away too. Like, yeah,
I mean, you're talking when a kid he's not even 20 yet and he doesn't have game power. I'm like, all right, I can wait.
He's also missed this basically the whole year with an injury. He got in spring training.
He hasn't been healthy at all. Look, we're talking about a 50 future value prospect per Fangraphs, which like that's a solid major leaguer. And I think he could grow into something better than that. But like, I don't know. We're talking about a guy with like a couple hundred, if even that, minor league plate appearances over 2 years. Like, I believe the evaluators. I think he's a solid player. He was a first round pick. But like, this is a guy that I would trade in the right package. Like, I don't agree with the people who think he should be untouchable.
Yeah, no, I think he's way too early in the stage of his prospect career and as a professional baseball player to be deemed an untouchable. In my opinion, Lombard, you can make the case for.
Sure.
I do think, though, that they are going to dangle like Marco Luciano in trade talks and Yankees Fernandez.
Totally.
Like, these guys are having breakout years in the minor leagues where I could totally see them getting dealt. You brought up the idea of having Marco platoon with Jazz. I just think that like Ahmed Rosario did homer the other day, which was very nice of him. But like, I've not been pleased with this year's Ahmed Rosario, and I think it couldn't hurt to see if Marco Luciano can do Ahmed Rosario better than Ahmed Rosario. I just don't think it could hurt. From Shugs at Shugs_30. What do you make of Trent's recent power outage? Dude just hasn't been hitting the ball hard at all. Yeah, it's been tough for a couple weeks, but like, as we talked about earlier, the broad sample of the last couple months, he's been the same guy and just, gotten unlucky on balls in play. I would like to see more hard contact, but like, he has not deserved these results. So we covered that one. Second question, Will, what was your reaction when you saw that Curtis Meade got injured right after he was traded to the Red Sox? Mixed. First, it was sadness because he's on my dynasty baseball team. He was a waiver wire that I acquired in May because Austin Riley was having an awful seaan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got to move on from Austin Riley. So I trade Riley for like a third-round pick, and I just picked Meade up off waivers, and he has this breakout year, and I'm loving it. I'm like, I look the smartest guy alive. I dump Riley and get this guy for nothing, and then he breaks his wrist. But it just goes to show you that you can make the trades to put your team over the top, and you can't control injuries no matter how many times people say that you can and the rest of these guys, and he wears all the protective gear he can and he still gets hurt. It sucks for Boston. As a Yankee fan, it makes me, I don't want to say happy because a guy just got hurt, but like, it's one less thing you have to worry about now in their lineup.
Yeah.
And they traded away a pretty nice piece to get him too.
They did. Yeah. Connolly Early's a good player. So my reaction was, wow, that sucks for Curtis Meade, but there aren't enough bad things in the world that could happen to the Boston Red Sox. Third question, would you rather have Jarren Duran on the Yankees or put a toothpick under your toenail and kick a wall?
I'd rather that option, the toothpick. Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny that Shug sent in this question because last night I had a dream that Jarren Duran was traded to the Yankees and people were mad at me that I wasn't nice enough about it. They were like, oh, he's on the Yankees, you need to support him. I was like the guy that I hate more than any baseball player. Like it was, I don't know if I was having Benintendi flashbacks or what, but yeah, I'm fully out on
and there's still Red
Jarren
Sox
Duran.
there are still Sox fans that defend him.
It makes no sense. And then last question from Bad Yankees Takes at YankPlane06. My friends are pressuring me to make an Instagram account. Would you and Steve follow me? Steve is a Luddite, so there's no way he's on Instagram. But yes, BYT, I would follow you. And our friend Will Pesic might even follow you.
Yeah, I see his tweets. He's pretty funny.
He's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's an anti-Volpe guy, though.
He hates Volpe. He hates Volpe. But he, at my advice, has stopped threatening violence on the
That's
internet.
good.
So that's really good. Yeah.
That's progress right there.
It's growth, it's progress. So we're very happy about that. All right. Well, no trades have broken in the last hour, at least not for the Yankees. The Yankees just made the Garcia trade official. So I assume we'll see him tomorrow against the Cardinals.
They were flying from Atlanta to Philly, Washington.
Okay, perfect.
So it's not, obviously Philly's not that far from New York City.
So let's see. Sorry. It looks like it's Michael McGreevy for the Cardinals tomorrow, who does pitch right-handed. So Luis Garcia should be in there. Paul Goldschmidt will not. And it looks like we'll have a slightly new look team. I'm very eager to see what else changes by the trade deadline tomorrow afternoon.
I do have a question for you, because this is something I thought about on my 6-hour ride home today from upstate New York. By the way, Ella Langley on Friday night was really good. So
yeah, so my we were hanging out with some friends yesterday, and my wife found out about the phrase Ella fella, which I was introduced to by your post about being at the Ella Langley show.
Yeah. Trent Grisham's an Ella fella, by the way.
He is. He absolutely is.
I thought about this. Jason Dominguez, in my opinion, is playing himself out of future plans for the Yankees. His defense is abysmal. Had a misread yesterday
on the PCA ball.
He's also not hitting enough to be a DH.
Yeah, he's not hitting at all.
I think Spencer Jones is him and Spencer are competing right now for a spot on the Yankees in the future. If Spencer Jones was a stock, I would be a cautious buy. Mm-hmm. I messaged you yesterday saying I have a crush on Spencer Jones.
Yeah.
and if Jason Dominguez was a stock, I'd be full sell.
Yeah.
His ceiling to me cannot be any lower right now.
It's really tough because the defense has been like slightly better this year. Like it has not been as bad as I expected. It's not been as bad as it was last year. But my God, the offense. And the thing with Dominguez is obviously he's still only 23. He hits the ball really hard. He runs really fast. He has a nice arm. So like there are all kinds of tools to believe in. But with the fact that he has walked so little this year, and barreled the ball so little and hit it less hard than he ever has in his career on average, it's just like, dude, these are not your tools. This is not the way that you are built to succeed. And Steve has a theory that like Jason Dominguez heard all the chatter about the Blue Jays last year and thinks that like he really needs to put the ball in play more. And that's why he's not been as patient and he's been striking out less and like making weaker contact. And players do go through stuff like that. Like, we saw that with Oswaldo Cabrera after 2022. He was this pulled fly ball demon. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, no, I need to be more bat to ball. And it's just not true. So I still think Dominguez has nice tools. I think he has a higher floor than Spencer Jones because like he's basically been a league average hitter for his career. Spencer Jones could be a 50 WRC plus player really fast if he chases and doesn't walk. And like he's often chased and he has not always walked. So I still think the floor is higher for Dominguez, but I don't know how much separation there is between the floor and the ceiling with the way that he is right now as a hitter. Jones is doing some exciting stuff for sure. But like, I still think right now he's at a 37.6% walk rate and an 11%, or sorry, a 37.6% strikeout rate and an 11% walk rate. I don't know if that's enough walking for how much striking out he's doing. And it has progressed. Like, the discipline has progressed with each stint he's gotten in the big leagues. The sample is just too small. So I think for me, I would still tell people that whatever you thought about Spencer Jones before he was called up is probably still the thing that should anchor what you think about him today. So I still have a lot of skepticism, though I am encouraged by what we've seen recently.
And the thing that separates me with Dominguez is, like, he's not walking this year. And
which is
last
really
year
bad.
He was. His plate discipline this year is awful.
It's horrendous.
Like, he's turning into Jose Caballero, where it's like anything above or below the strike zone, he doesn't care. He's gonna try to put the ball in play and hope for the best. And he's extremely athletic too. And you watch him in the outfield and you go, he looks so athletic rounding the bases, but in the outfield
and then he looks
doesn't
so uncomfortable.
It's like it just doesn't make sense. And the Yankees can trust Jones defensively, where he plays left field for the first time ever in what is a long time. Like, they clearly valued Spencer Jones defensively a lot more than Jason, and rightfully so.
Yes, totally.
But the sample size is small on Spencer, but man, like, I see what he's doing, and I'm like, you could only dream, because he looks good right now. So
he does. He absolutely does. Also, another guy who looks good, Austin Wells.
Yep.
Austin Wells, since July 9th, came into today's game with a 152 WRC plus and a 411 xWOBA. So I'm seeing you, Austin Wells, and I want you to know that. All right, Will, I think that's going to wrap up this episode. Any final shots you want to call? And then also, please let the people know where they can interact with you. Direct them to your podcast, which is terrific, which I've been on, which you can watch live. So let everyone know where they can follow you and make any final shots you want to call.
Yeah. A lot of you guys have already followed me. I'm at Will Pesic _ on Twitter, and you could follow my Instagram as well. It's same first, last name _ and the podcast 161st and River Avenue. We've had a lot of great guests on. A couple of you guys that listen to the show. Will has been on. A new up and coming Yankee Twitter podcaster, RJ from the BC.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, like BD and 4 Train. He's been on. So we have Emmanuel Bari coming on Sunday.
Awesome.
So from WFAN. So we're looking forward to that. So it's been awesome. Love talking about the Yankees, and your followers are great. I love BYT's Whipple Wednesday edits.
Wednesday is phenomenal. Yeah. So, Will, it was a pleasure having you on. It's a pleasure as always. Everyone go check out the 161st and River Ave podcast. And that's going to do it for this 186th episode of the Yankees Files podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can keep up with what we do at YankeesFiles.com. You can follow us on Twitter, where we are at Yankees Files. The podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. Please rate, review, subscribe, give it 5 stars, like it, whatever the appropriate positive form of interaction is. If you don't like it, just download it a bunch of times and juice our numbers. The full video podcast is available on Spotify and also goes up on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@YankeesFiles. We will be back similar time, similar place next week to recap all the events of the trade deadline and the week that was. Until then, let's go Yankees.
And I say, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. I say, hey, hit ball over